Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel for a little Chelsea news / Benson gives his thoughts on the lack of news, what it could mean, and the other news that isn't necessarily directly Chelsea related that could be the springboard for Chelsea news to actually occur. That was like the most cryptic introduction to explain how this video is going to go. But again, it's been quite quiet. There have been a few little stories rising, such as Tammy Abraham, supposedly Aston Villa might well be close to securing Tammy Abraham, which, of course, would be a huge catalyst for Chelsea to then go out and spend money on a striker, which is something that we've already heard. It's something that has been reported multiple times. Haaland is still on the agenda. Chelsea is supposedly still very interested. And Lukaku may not be staying at Inter Milan this summer because they still might need the cash. So everything's a little bit up in the air, but England are going to win the Euros soon, which means that competition will be over. And then football transfer business will take over the world for a little while. There's going to be some big deals. I've got a feeling about it, not because I've got some crazy sources coming in my left ear, that's my right ear, or my left ear, but I do firmly believe there is still big business to be done. I want to talk a little bit, first of all, about the Jadon Sancho saga. Unfortunately, Chelsea fans, it's now over. It's always been like a little pipe dream of mine that Sancho, obviously, he's a Chelsea fan, he doesn't support Manchester United, but in football, it's very rare that you have the luxury of doing a Mason Mount, and even though he's a Portsmouth fan, he's loved Chelsea all of his life. Reece James, same thing. Tammy Abraham, same thing, until it looks as though he might be on his way out. Many other Chelsea players are fortunate enough to play for their boyhood club, whereas Jadon Sancho has gone to Manchester United. Fabrizio Romano gave us the here we go. United have supposedly prepared their announcements. Jadon Sancho is a Manchester United player, which I do think that Chelsea, if we'd have gone for him last year, it would have still been a good signing. However, I don't think a winger is the maximum priority, even though I think it's a good price for Jadon Sancho for his potential, quality and his age. Man United have done very well there, but in terms of what it means for Chelsea, I want to focus on the tweet. I know this is a little bit far-fetched and out there, but I do believe that the tweet from Erling Haaland's dad, where he makes it pretty clear that he's disappointed that Borussia Dortmund have sold Jadon Sancho, because obviously his son plays for Borussia Dortmund. It could be the angle that he's disappointed that Erling Haaland's probably going to stay at Dortmund next season. Of course, this is all hypothetical. Haaland's going to stay there next season. One of the key players who's provided so much support to make Haaland the player that he is Jadon Sancho. So there could be that genuine, he's disappointed. Obviously, he's a Dortmund fan as well because his son's been playing there. It's a great club. And he's disappointed for Borussia Dortmund that Jadon Sancho's no longer their player. You've also got the other side of the coin where Erling Haaland's dad, Haaland is still a young player, his dad is very much involved with what goes on with him. He could also be looking at this thinking, right, Jadon Sancho's gone, is there any point in my son staying at Borussia Dortmund next season when they've just lost one of their talisman players? There isn't a lot of talk of big money moves coming in to Borussia Dortmund, and considering they struggled this year, or last season, sorry, to even finish in the top 4 in the Bundesliga, he might be looking at this as a bit of a wasted potential season if Dortmund are actually going to fall off a little bit, which, if we take that angle of approach, could suggest that Erling Haaland is going to push even harder to leave Borussia Dortmund this summer. As much as I really want to go down the trail of that agenda, I do believe that if Erling Haaland stays at Borussia Dortmund this summer, it probably would have been something premeditated where even before Jadon Sancho's sale was sanctioned, Erling Haaland was very aware that Jadon Sancho would probably be leaving Dortmund this summer. And we know with Borussia Dortmund, they do have some very, very good young players, expensive potential players that can be sold. So as much as I didn't want to spend all day talking to you about the same story again, I just think that there are many different ways that we can look at very small, nuanced things with a big deal, with the potential of a big deal this size for Erling Haaland. We know from what we've seen everywhere in the past few days, weeks, it's almost been going on for months now, Chelsea, they want to sign Erling Haaland. It is the fee that is the problem, which makes all the difference. as to whether or not he becomes a Chelsea player this summer. And I think that as time's gone on and people are starting to get a little bit worried, saying Chelsea are linked with Adama Traore. We've talked about that in the past here on GBFC. 25 million quid. It's not bank-breaking sums of money for Chelsea. But I think the key thing that I really believe this summer, after all of the progress we made when Thomas Tuchel took over last year, and then obviously we won the bloody Champions League, the biggest trophy of them all, there is already an incredibly talented squad here at Chelsea. We already know from last season that there are so many players who don't get the minutes that they either A, deserve, or B, desire as Chelsea players who are wanting to play football every single week. There's already a lot of squad players in this Chelsea squad that are probably far too good to be playing bit parts and 10, 15 appearances a season and loads off the bench. This Chelsea team is already incredibly talented, even with the young players that you've got potentially coming through. You know, people talk about Tino Livramento. Thomas Tuchel's made it pretty clear that he wants to take a look at Ruben Loftus-Cheek. I know he's not a young player, but there's already players at the club who Thomas Tuchel has said that he wants to look at during this pre-season, so that maybe Chelsea don't have to go out and spend the kind of money on squad players to add to the depth of an already deep squad. He doesn't see the point in that. And for me, when it comes to Chelsea's business, as the weeks have gone on, like I said, my position is still very much the same. I think, as we said here on the GBFC video where I talked with Fabrizio Romano, he says that Chelsea and the camp at Chelsea are very confident that we don't need to go out and buy 6 or 7 players the way we did last season, because obviously that was the foundation for an incredibly successful end to the season, to build into a squad that can be dominating Europe and the Premier League for many years. So 2 or 3 players, and the one that has always been coming up now for about 18 months here on GBFC is the man who cannot seem to do a foot wrong right now for England, Declan Rice. The more I watch this guy play, the more I'm swayed 100% towards Chelsea breaking the bank to bring Declan Rice to the club. I think, forget the narrative of how nice it would be. You know, we've talked about that one many times, and I've always said that we shouldn't make our decisions as to how we wish for Chelsea to improve based off of fairy tale narratives. As nice as it is for the side story, Declan Rice is so bloody good. Against Germany, him and Calvin Phillips, exceptional. I've been impressed with Calvin Phillips this whole tournament. Declan Rice, we've already seen enough times for West Ham that he's a quality player who, at the age that he's at, is already leading a team, with Mark Noble kind of playing less of a role now at West Ham. And seeing him for England, an England team that are yet to concede a goal in this tournament, by the way, which is absolutely bloody balmy when we got Ukraine on Saturday night. What a start it's been. But Declan Rice is a special player. Southgate's calling upon him. He's delivering every single time he's out there. West Ham, they said they want 100 million. Which is, I mean, that's too many digits. I don't even think some calculators can have that written on the top of it. 100 million quid for Declan Rice. I think it's too much, but I would love to see Chelsea pursue him. I think that in terms of midfielders, I like that Thomas Tuchel wants to give Ruben Loftus-Cheek a go, but we've got to be very, very clear that it just might not work out for Ruben. And I think that Declan is the perfect kind of player that Chelsea could use in various different positions, be it centre-back if we need him to fill in, and of course in the defensive midfield role that he's doing so well for both club and for country. So, my position's not changed. Chelsea need 2 or 3 world-class players. I don't even want to really entertain the idea of bringing in little players here and there just to add to an already deep squad. Let me know your thoughts on all of that, of course, in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, guys. It is now July and the football season is about 30 days away. So it's going to be back to regular videos here now on GBFC. And I'm not just saying that this time. I've had a good break. I've had a long break and I bloody miss it. So 1st of July, expect some new videos even tomorrow. See you guys there. Come on, you Blues.